Okay, hello, Paul here from Babel Tech. In this video, I want to talk about how we style this area of your blog section. So the technical term for this is the archive page header or archive page banner. So this page where all of your blog posts are listed out. This is called an archive page. So by default, it'll look something like this. Um, but you'll perhaps want to style that. So what we can do is I'll need to go to customize, and if we go over on the left side here under blog and blog archive, and if you've struggled to find this, then don't worry because you're in good company. Always takes me a few minutes to remember where to find this part. It's actually under here down at the bottom, and you'll see this pencil icon for content. If I click on that, so now I need to come down even further to this archive summary box. So I guess the archive summary box is what we're calling this area here. What I can do is let's change, for example, if I want to change the background color, I don't know, let's change that maybe nice blue perhaps. And if I want to change the title color, and I might make that a white for contrast, and that's fine. So I might publish that. But let's say that I actually want to get a bit more descriptive with this. So what I can do is if I go to over here posts, under posts where it says categories, posts categories. In fact, if I click on categories, this is what you'll see. And what I want to do here is edit my blog category. So if I click on that, and let's change this to my blog posts, and let's add a description. So let's call it tips for learning better English. Okay, and let's update that. Okay, so you'll notice that I didn't change the slug here. The slug is the URL of this archive page, and while you could change it if you've already shared that URL with a few people, it could cause problems like page not found, that sort of thing. So unless you've got a really good reason to change it, I wouldn't change the URL slug. So if I come back to here and let's say, well, let's refresh the page. Let's close that. Okay, there we can see we've got tips for better business English, but of course I don't like that color so much. So let's come back to the customizer. And go to blog archive, and come back down to here, and the description color. So I want to make that white as well. So there you go. That's a little bit better. So unfortunately, we don't get many styling options for the archive banner or the archive banner description. So what I might want to do, So what some people will probably be thinking of is, could I stick my own like custom made banner in here, like something made with, Canva or something like that. Um, the problem with that idea is that on different screen sizes, um, if you make a banner, if you make an image, it's not going to resize itself well. So like images, photos, they don't magically resize for different screen dimensions. So you can see here that this box is quite narrow and long, but if I reduce that screen width, so that whole page dimension is changing, and so it's not gonna really flow well, and you're gonna have like words that are cut out if you've got a banner with some writing on there. Um, Having said that, what we could do is add an image, a background image in there, and this could work well if you've got just some sort of like a texture effect. So this is something that you'll need to ask for support on doing at the moment, because I haven't made this feature available yet. We may do that in the future if people feel confident about adding their own CSS. So let's just refresh that page. Right. So you can see here that this was originally a banner, um, and it has some writing on there, but it's just not doing well because of the image size doesn't really fit these dimensions. So what I would recommend though is, if you want to do a background image, look for some sort of like texture effect like this. So if we had this image without the writing on it, this might look quite good. So I'd suggest think about doing something like that if you really want to get a bit fancier. So before I end this video, I just want to point out a couple of other things about the category. Um, so you can see here the general SEO settings. So you can edit these if you like. So these are for Google basically. So this is what Google may or may not decide to put in their listing if your category page gets listed. Um, these ones here, these social SEO settings. So these are interesting, and I'm going to make a separate video to talk a little bit um, about social sharing options. Basically, what we can see here is this open graph title and open graph description, and Twitter title, Twitter description, and then a social image URL. Okay, so let me go through this and explain. Um, so most social media platforms, with the exception of Twitter, because Twitter has to be different, most social media platforms, when you share a post, when you share a link, let's say on Facebook, or if you share a link on LinkedIn, or if you share a link, I guess I don't know what other ones, maybe Pinterest, um, although you'd probably use a Pinterest thumbnail for that. But especially Facebook and LinkedIn, if you share a link, those platforms are going to come here, and first of all, they're going to check what's in this thing called Open Graph title. So this is like an open format that almost all of the social media platforms are adhering to. And so whatever you put in here is what's going to appear when you share the link. The same as whatever you put in here. So you can see that this is automatically pulling. It's automatically pulling from my general SEO settings. So that's probably okay. I could get a bit better with that if I wanted to. Twitter has their own proprietary system, but it amounts to the same thing. So Twitter looks here for the title of any link that you post on Twitter, and it also looks for the description here. So if you're going to be doing a lot of sharing of your archive page, singular. If you're going to be doing a lot of sharing of that, then it's probably a good idea to put something that's a bit better worded, you know, that kind of sells your proposition a bit better than what we've got here. And the same with the social image URL. You can select an image and put that in there, have that as like the default image that comes up whenever you share that URL. Otherwise, I think it just grabs the first image that it can find on the page, and it uses that, which may or may not be the one that you want. Yeah, so visibility SEO settings, I don't think you need to really worry about these too much. I wouldn't mess with these unless you know what you're doing. So I hope that helps. So that's how you can get a bit fancier with the archive page banner or archive page title. So if you've got any questions, let me know. Thank you.